It's good to be here at number 7. I confess I'm a little late because I have never driven this long in my life. I had a difficult time finding where we're supposed to be. But I'm happy to be here and to address you on this, the 3rd anniversary of Team Unity, and certainly to be here in the Prime Minister's constituency. As I drove along, I kept hearing Harris again, you know, so I'm very happy to be here. But I confess that I don't have a lot to talk about because they haven't given me the kind of sexy ministries like the others have, you know. So I believe that the others have a lot to say. I will tell you, however, that you know that we're doing well in diplomacy, and I am charged with the diplomacy for our country, the foreign policy. You know we're doing well when you don't hear any noise. And so it's a strange thing because when Lindsay gets a new hotel or Patches get a pier, you hear a big hullabaloo. You only know I'm doing good when you don't hear anything. So it's an odd situation. But when we took over, the situation in our country in terms of our foreign relations was not good. We had difficulties with the United States. We had no less a man, I believe, than the Secretary of State, John Kerry, writing to the then Prime Minister and expressing his deep concern about the relationship. We had difficulties with Canada, as you know, that led to all of us, you and I, now needing a visa to visit Canada. I'm hearing about Mogadam, Bragadam, somebody like that, as you know, was very much in the news at the time. But all of these, we had the FinCEN advisory that had been issued against us. And so all of these circumstances combined to damage the relationship that we had with very important partners. To this day, we have still not been able to retrieve that coveted visa-free access to Canada. Even though at the time when we lost it, if you recall, we were told it didn't matter. A lot of chatter out there, oh, so what's the big deal? Other countries need it too. Well, the big deal is that I'm sure most of us have family, most of us have relatives, most of us are accustomed to waltzing in and out of Toronto for Caribbean and elsewhere if we so desired. And that never happened. And so, the truth be told, that we had great difficulty. Well, what have we done? We've sought in a systematic way, in an orderly way, in a decent way, to repair our relations with many of these countries. In fact, not only have we sought to repair our relationship with Canada, we have now for the first time opened a High Commission in Canada. The very first and only OECS country that has a High Commission in Canada, and certainly we now have a full-fledged office in Ottawa. And so we are hoping, bit by bit, as I like to say in Nevis, brick by brick, to rebuild these relationships. We haven't stayed there because, of course, the world is not only Canada and the United States, but we have expanded the diplomatic footprint of St. Kitts and Nevis, to the point where we have been able to fashion diplomatic relations now with another 22 countries, with more to come. And a lot of these countries are countries in Africa, which had over the last 20 years been ignored. And so we now have relationships with countries like Mozambique, countries like Ethiopia, countries like Rwanda and Zambia. All of these, Kenya, are new relationships that we forged. We've also sought to enhance the value of our passport. And one of the ways that you enhance the value of your passport, certainly, is to increase the number of countries that you can visit without a visa. And so whilst we have lost Canada, I'm very happy to say that as we stand here tonight, we've added 13 new countries, including major countries, such as Russia, Brazil, Indonesia, and some African countries such as Kenya. So we have been able to expand the diplomatic footprint. And let me say this, because it is something I'm very proud of, and I think as a country and as a government we ought to be proud, that every country that extends the courtesy to us, that says to St. Kitts and Nevis, you can come without a visa, without let or hindrance, it is a demonstration of the level of confidence that that country has in us. They used to talk about full confidence. Well, it's only now there's full confidence in St. Kitts and Nevis. Because the international community now recognizes that in Bastia, they have a serious government. In Bastia, they have a government that they can trust, a reliable international partner, not a partner that will jeopardize their countries. And as a consequence, more and more countries are granting us that privilege of being able to come to their countries visa-free. That is a very significant thing. I know sometimes the public say, why are you telling me about visa-free to Russia? I don't want to go to Russia. Doesn't matter. You may not want to go, but your children may want to go. The truth is that if you want to go, you should be able to go without let or hindrance. And it is our job to ensure that the people of St. Kitts and Nevis, the people of Molineux, the people of Number 7, and of all the other constituencies in this country ought to be able to travel freely without let or hindrance on their St. Kitts Nevis passport. Now I specify the St. Kitts Nevis passport because the good Prime Minister has asked me to speak to another matter. And I segue quickly into that, bearing in mind that I've been told I only have 20 minutes and we figure the Prime Minister will take an hour. Are doing good? Okay. The Constitution is very clear, ladies and gentlemen. And the framers of our Constitution are very clear that we cannot serve two masters. Just I believe it is Matthew. In Matthew, it tells us that we can't serve God and Mammon. So, the Constitution is clear that we cannot serve two masters. You cannot be under any allegiance, oath, act that suggests that you have any allegiance to any country other than St. Christopher and Nevis. And that makes good sense. It makes good sense because if you say to the people of St. Kitts and Nevis, give me the right, give me the privilege to serve you at the highest levels in your parliament, then you're saying to the people that I have and serve no other master but you. But if at the same time you're telling the people of St. Kitts and Nevis, give me the opportunity to serve you, you are under some allegiance to some other country, then it creates a constitutional crisis. And I want to take a few minutes to explain so that all of us are clear. You see, I have not engaged in all the chatter that I've heard about the fact that the former Prime Minister holds a diplomatic passport from Dominica. I have left that. But recently, over the last 2 days, two things have happened. One, I have seen an affidavit that the good gentleman has filed in the court. And just so you all know, an affidavit is flowery language, is testimony. It is sworn and it is supposed to be the truth. So if you file an affidavit, it is sworn testimony, just as if you went into the court and gave that testimony from the witness box, having held up the Bible or taken the oath. And so there is an affidavit that I saw. Secondly, I saw that the good gentleman took, I'm told there were between 15 and 20 people from his constituency and brought them into Bastille to support him in a situation where my position is he knows better. And they say who know better should do better. And I am concerned when I see people being dragged from their homes and brought to town to parade around carnival over long time. There's no need for any troop in town. No, that will come for Juve when the next sugar mass comes along. And I know I'm from Nevis and Culturama ain't reached yet. So it can't be that people are in town practicing for what has not yet come. So I am concerned when I see people leave their homes and come into town to support foolishness. And here's why it is foolishness. The good gentleman has repeatedly said to the people of the country different things. He has pretended he has no passport. I'm sure all of you heard it. He went on to suggest, when asked by a reporter, how many citizenships you have, he says, none of your business. None of our business. But in that affidavit, there are some important and startling admissions. One, Dr. Douglas for the first time says he holds a Dominican passport. He now says it. These are his words, sworn testimony. Two, Dr. Douglas for the first time says that he applied for the passport through filling out a form that he also submitted to the court. What is interesting about the form? It's in his handwriting, his signature, his picture. And that's the form you fill out when you want the passport. So here is what he says. He says, I fill out the form, you know. I signed the form to get the passport in Dominica. But the section which asks me, what is the basis on which you're getting the passport? Citizenship by birth, citizen by descent, citizen by naturalization. He said, I leave that blank. And he now says that that the computer is what fill in the blank. And it is the computer that when the passport was issued, put down my citizenship as Dominican. Well, the computer must put it as Dominican because it's a Dominica computer. If you want to sink its Nevis, the computers that deal with the citizenship must put your citizenship as Sinkis Nevis. How else you going to get a Dominica passport? A passport is evidence of your citizenship. So he's saying it wasn't me, it was the computer. So the computer filled in the field for me and says that my citizenship is Dominica. I didn't do that. 3, he says that he used the passport to travel the world. So, we now hear him from his own lips say he has the passport. He was up and down denying it. 2, he filled in the form to get the passport. 3, he used the passport to travel. Now, I think that those are some startling revelations. Because having said all that, he goes on to say, but I do not have citizenship of Dominica. Now that raises a lot of troubling questions. Not only here, but in Dominica. It raises some troubling questions because, let me put it this way. If the good gentleman received a document which he says was given to him as a matter of courtesy by Dominica, he says he and the Dominican government and prime minister are friends, and he's given this document as a courtesy. He says, I did not fill out anything to say I'm any citizen of Dominica. Well, if you did not fill it out and the computer fill it out for you, so that you end up with a document, a passport, which says, Denzel Llewellyn Douglas, citizen, national of Dominica. Why would you use that document to travel the world? You at that point should have said, no, the computer did something here that is erroneous. The computer made a mistake. The computer has me down as a national of Dominica when in fact I am not. No, he never do that. He take that passport and he traveled the globe. So when he got to London, he went in the line for diplomats. When he got to America, well, he can't go there. When he got to wherever else he went, he presented himself in the line for diplomats. And he presented himself to that customs immigration officer, forgive me, as a citizen of Dominica, bearing a document which is a passport duly issued by the government of Dominica. Now, I have a diplomatic passport for St. Kitts and Nevis. You know what it means? It's an even, to use perhaps loose language, higher passport than an ordinary passport. Because when you have that, you are holding yourself out to the country that you are visiting as somebody who's a legal, lawful representative of the government of that passport that you hold. You can't be a diplomat for Dominica without representing the government of Dominica. That is why you're a diplomat. What do diplomats do? Diplomats go around the world to represent their government, to advance the interests of their government. And you must, because this, as I say, we have been treating and we have been talking, but it's a very serious matter. What concerns me about this matter is that the same gentleman hounded my brother Lindsay, hounded my brother Sean, hounded poor Eugene. Eugene didn't have a passport. Poor Eugene said, but me not got no passport. Them say, too bad for you, green card, you still got to go court. Hounded them. Lindsay had to go wherever he went. Tell him, please, I beg you, take back our passport. Relieve me of my burden so that I can represent the people of number 4. Sean had to go to Barbados, said to the U.S., please, I beg you, take our passport so I can go home to represent the people of Sandy Point. My brother in Nevis, Alexis Jeffers, the deputy premier, had to go Barbados, tell him, sit here, beg you, take it fast. Allow me to come home and represent the people in St. James. And Eugene, I don't know why Eugene gave back, he didn't have nothing in the first place. But this was the man who went after them. He didn't just go after them in the media. He didn't just go after them in the court. No, he went into parliament and introduced legislation. And in the parliament he said, listen, if you're caught You not only go to 1840, for 5 years, you can't contest no elections again in the country. Matter of fact, not just the candidate, you know. There's no something where even the person who nominate the candidate, under the law, if that person nominates somebody who's disqualified, that person too can end up in prison. So you see how serious the gentleman fixed the thing. But you know what I say? Sometimes you set trap for monkey and you get catch in the same trap. Y'all a monkey in Molineux? Plenty monkey in Nevis, yeah? So when you set the trap, you get catch in the same trap. Because he set up things very nicely. He told you, the nationals of the country, he told the region, he told the world, something was fundamentally wrong with these gentlemen having another citizenship, having another passport. And if they dare to offer themselves as candidates, they must go to jail. And if convicted, they must ensure that for 5 years they cannot contest. So you see the lengths that the good gentleman went to. So why are the people now coming to say that they're coming to town and are outside the courthouse? That's why I say it have to be that mass come early this year. Because it cannot be that you are serious as a citizenry in order to defend the indefensible. And this matter is not a laughing matter, it's not a joking matter, it's not a light matter. This is a matter which is a deeply important constitutional matter for our country. You cannot have anybody in our parliament who is serving another country, who is obligated to another country. And every single time that the good gentleman presented his Dominican passport to any foreign border, he represented at that point in time, I am a Dominican and I have come as a diplomat, an emissary for the government and people of Dominica. Yes. It raises another troubling point. And that troubling point that it raises for me is the fact that we all know St. Kitts and Nevis pioneered the Citizenship by Investment program. We all know that in 1984, when nobody else in the world had thought about it, we thought about it. And we know that we had and continue to have the platinum standard for that program. The Commonwealth of Dominica has emerged as a competitor. And who does the honorable gentleman from number 6 go out in the world to represent? Not you, not the St. Kitts Nevis program. No, he gets his diplomatic passport so he could go to Dubai and go to Russia and go to Nigeria and go wherever else he goes as a representative and emissary of the people of Dominica. And then he turns around, the Prime Minister is using the language of undermine, and he's correct, because then he turns around and he comes to our parliament and say, Dominica doing better than St. Kitts Nevis. St. Kitts Nevis is no longer the top. Dominica is the top, but he's out there selling Dominica and undermining St. Kitts Nevis. And then comes and says to us that he has our best interests at heart. No, you can't have it both ways. You can't have it both ways. So I've been silent for a while on the matter. I am now speaking. And I've come to Molineux to say my piece. Because I believe that this is a constitutional crisis, no different to what we saw when they tried to change the boundaries and the way they tried to change the boundaries. And the thing that bothers me, he knows. He knows. And who know better must do better. He knows. Because he is the man who spearheaded the effort against others. Well, you see, you put it far better than I could. Whole night I'm trying to say that. He passed the law. But now he's running from the same law that he passed. Because the trap we catch, he said to catch monkey, catch he. So that is the reality. So I am saying that we need to pay attention. We need to pay close attention. And I hear all the chatting all around. Somebody said to me, when you making noise for, you got diplomatic passport too. I say, yeah, but I have it for St. Kitts and Nevis. I only have it for one country, St. Kitts and Nevis. And let me tell you all, you know, because you hear a lot of chatter all over. People now want to justify wrong by saying all manner of things. Do not be distracted. Do not be distracted. The reason I say that is this. I won a by-election in Nevis when we lost Malcolm Gishard in August of 2007. And I became leader of the opposition. of the federal parliament with Dr. Denzel Llewellyn Douglas as Prime Minister. I was leader of the opposition until 2015, when you, the good people of St. Kitts and Nevis, changed the government. In those 8 years as leader of the opposition, I was denied a diplomatic passport. I want to make that very clear, because sometimes people have convenient memories. I remember, and I believe I've said so publicly before, that Sam Conda, who was then Minister of Foreign Affairs, I said to Sam, it's embarrassing for me. I'm invited from time to time in my capacity as leader of the opposition, and when I go, I don't have a diplomatic passport. Sam said, no problem, I'm going to deal with it. I went, fill out my little form and things, sign it up, just like Douglas did in Dominica. Did all I had to do. Submitted it. Sam told me the passport is ready. I have not seen the passport since. As a matter of fact, I saw the passport, you know. Because when Unity won in 2015, they sent the passport to me. I tell him I don't need that now. I don't need that anymore. That is a passport issued long time that you never gave to me. I want my Unity passport now. I want a new passport. But I'm just telling you that because you hear Dr. Douglas is making the claim that he was somehow spitefully denied of a diplomatic passport. I'm leader of the opposition. I should. Well, what happened? How come he denied me? He denied me. Well, I'm now hearing that Hugh Heidegger was before me. Right? But I know that one was prepared for me and it was embargoed. When he found out, he said, no, I could not get a diplomatic passport as leader of the opposition. So why all the fuss now? If you set the rules, you passed the law, you instituted the policy, how come now that wasn't good enough? And what it tells you about a man, what does it say? That you can't be comfortable unless you have the trappings that you have lost. What does it tell you? Because you realize that it is because he was denied a diplomatic passport in St. Kitts and Nevis, he wanted to scare it to get one in Dominica. His view is that he could not travel anywhere in the world without having the designation of a diplomat. And so whether it was Dominica or wherever, as a matter of fact, I heard him in an interview say he was offered by several countries diplomatic passport. For all you know, he may got some more too. It may not only be Dominica, it's just that he get caught with the one from Dominica. But that is the nature, and he says to you, he speaks to you. Because when I was denied mine, I said, well, no problem, I have my regular green passport and I travel on that. That's the way. But he feels that he's entitled to all the trappings, all the privileges, and having been deprived of them after 20 long years, he figured, well, if I can't get them here in St. Kitts and Nevis, I can get them where I can get them. And so that is how he ended up getting caught. And I believe, if I were to advise the good gentleman, I would tell him, do the right thing. The right thing is to resign from the parliament because you have no right to be there. The right thing is to pay back the treasury, the money that you have been collecting illegally and improperly since you have been disqualified as a parliamentarian. The right thing is to write a little letter to Roosevelt Skerritt in Dominica, say, dear Prime Minister, thank you for the privilege. I can no longer hold on to this document. Do like my brother Lindsay and my brother Sean. Do like my brother Alexis in Nevis and give back. Free yourself of the burden. Free yourself of it. And then if after you've done that, you want to put your name on a ballot paper again, well, the law says you can. But you can't have it both ways. And for God's sake, stop parading the people around town like some troop come early for culture round. Don't do that. It is unkind to people, and I think a lot of the people maybe don't understand the gravity of the situation. Ladies and gentlemen, I believe my time is up. I just want to say to you that after 3 years of a unity administration, you can see the benefit. I came down this evening, and at the hotel where I'm staying, the chap said to me, he said, Mr. Brantley, you're all doing good. I said, what do you mean? He said, well, I work here, and I will tell you, it's the busiest we've ever seen in St. Kitts and Nevis. He said to me, he said, everybody trying to get a bus, everybody trying to get a taxi license, people are trying to get a little piece of the pie. On my way here, the gentleman who was driving me said to me that he was up at the airport on the weekend and he thought he was in Miami. So what do you mean by that? The weather was nice? He said, no. 3 jets landed around the same time. Delta, American, United, I think. And he said all 3 full. To the point where you had people on the tarmac lining up to try and get into immigration. There are some excellent things happening in St. Kitts and Nevis. When we say something good is happening, it is because something good is happening. We are seeing development at an unprecedented level. And all I ask the people of St. Kitts and Nevis to do is to make sure you take advantage of the opportunities in your own country. You can sit down all day and you hear on the radio station, and if you close your eyes and you weren't busy and had to go and work and make some of the bread that is being offered all up and down the country, you would really think that we are a basket case, that nothing is happening in our country. The truth is, so much is happening, that we're registering the kind of growth, we're leading the region, leading the OECS in every indicator. When a little country, and I'm sure my brother Eugene, Green Card Eugene, gonna talk about it next. But when a little country like St. Kitts and Nevis could become the first in the OECS to eliminate HIV transmission from mother to child, first to eliminate syphilis transmission from mother to child. When we had PAHO and the World Health Organization, all those coming to our shores to certify that little St. Kitts and Nevis has been the first. And you know the thing that bothered me? Douglas jumped up and said he do that. 3 years after he's out of office, he's still claiming every hotel come, every development comes, is he do it. But guess what? Crime come, no, that is Unity problem. Unity do that, Unity 3 years old, you all ever hear any 3-year-old commit crime? Not one criminal born under Unity. None. So the truth of the matter is, I want our people to remain vigilant. I want you to keep your eyes and your ears open. I want you to be willing to speak up. Some of us know, but we choose not to say. And so you hear some people sometimes with some ignorance and some nonsense, and it starts to sound good because you know better and you don't rebut. We are only the few. We are only the few. We are representing you. But at the end of the day, I think you, armed with information, need to use it. And when people come and they whisper foolishness in your ear, tell them that's foolishness, because St. Kitts and Nevis is enjoying an unprecedented time of prosperity. Unprecedented time of prosperity. The relationship, and let me just take 2 minutes, Brother Lindsay, just to say that the relationship between St. Kitts and Nevis has never been better. It is the best. It is the best that we have seen. The best that we have seen. It is because of the closeness of that relationship that I could stand here tonight in Molineux and speak to you. Speak to you as a national of this country, as part of the Team Unity administration. And if Vance Amory was here, he would have done similarly, because we are now bound together in a very tangible and important way as we advance the interests of the country. Now in Nevis, for the first time, people are not seeing those age-old distinctions that we used to have. If you want a job and a job is at Park Hyatt, people go on Park Hyatt to work. Wherever work is in the country, people are saying, I am a national of this country and I'm taking advantage of that. People of St. Kitts are taking advantage of opportunities in Nevis and vice versa. You know why? Ultimately, we are 2 islands, 1 paradise. 2 islands, but 1 country. And we need to continue to ensure that all of our people benefit from all that we have to offer as a country. I thank the Honorable Prime Minister. I thank Team Unity and the vision that went into this. I have said so many times right here in St. Kitts that we come from disparate places and disparate backgrounds. When I was in opposition, another man used to talk as hard to me as Timothy Harris when he talking from over there. Talk hard, I used to afraid him because you know he's big. So to come from there to where we are now says to you that we were able to put away those things and come together. Put away those things and come together for the benefit of the people of Nevis. Thank you, God bless, and good night.
Stay up to date with news, programs, and activities of the government with SKNIS. Like us on Facebook. Listen to us on SoundCloud. Follow us on Twitter. And watch our videos on YouTube. Connect with us today. SKNIS, St. Kitts and Nevis Information Service.